Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Avakar Kwadash. And double honors to the apostles of the great millstone, and as well as giving also the salutations towards the Akim out that is forwarding this ministry throughout the four winds of the earth. And as well as the brothers and as well as the sisters that support what we say and what we do on the side. Shalom to y'all. It's the brother Laban coming at you with another video. And in this video, I just want to talk about a few things concerning these Edomites that are a part of the elite group, which was speaking in this World Economic Forum last week. And what I wanted to do is speak on this video the week prior, but I forgot about it. So I'll speak on it now. And I also want to talk about, what Biden was talking about in terms of gun confiscation, which has always been the goal for, especially coming from the politicians and the elitists that are over there. And as this guy says, which is who I want to address the words of this man over here in saying that the civilization of theirs may not survive. So what I do before I move forward, I just want to play the video so you brothers and some of you sisters that are watching can hear what he's saying. Now, this guy has an accent that you may not understand, some of you brothers and as well as you sisters that are watching, but I want you to pay close attention to what he's saying. And who is this individual? This individual is George Soros. Throughout the years, he's funded a lot of groups. I say about maybe close to 200 groups. And the prominent group that he's funded as of recently, as you remember a year ago or two, is this lesbianic movement called Black Lives Matter, which is nothing more than a joke. And I call it a lesbianic movement because it was headed by a bunch of so-called black women that basically have an issue with so-called black men. So they're like the leaders of this movement, as this man has basically funded these people or these women to lead the movement. And then basically one of the women of this group spent a lot of the money which was given to her on something else. I forgot what it was, but that's a different topic and a different time. But anyway, he's funded a lot of groups throughout the years while he was young, and even towards him being a middle-aged man and the age that he's been at. As of recent, he's been funding these different groups to cause chaos in the world. So he's definitely, somewhat powerful to a certain level of a degree. So if this is the words that's coming out of his mouth, then, we have to pay close attention. All right. So let's play the video.
The rain did come out of the blue. The world has been increasingly engaged in a struggle between two systems of governance that are diametrically opposed to each other: open society and closed society. Let me define the difference as simply as I can. In an open society, the rule of the state is to protect the freedom of the individual. In a closed society, the role of the individual is to serve the rulers of the state. Other issues concerning all of humanity, fighting pandemics and climate change, avoiding nuclear war, maintaining global institutions, have had to take a backseat to that struggle. That's why I say our civilization may not survive.
Yeah. And because what they really would like to create, and he just said it. He said, stupid commercials, man. Dumb, stupid ass commercials. Anyway, excuse me. Got a little bit irritated there. Anyway, like he said, that an open society is better than the closed society. And really what he's really saying is a world that will be opened for everybody, which automatically means a one world system where everybody can get together. That's the world they want to build up. And I mean, just the sound of it all, it sounds good, to the simple mind among many people, because it sounds like they want to include you and everybody else rather than just including themselves. But when you really check it out, the whole concept of what they want to set up, a world that has already been pretty much played out already from the beginning of time. The Heavenly Father did not take that lightly, and when the Heavenly Father doesn't take something lightly, then it doesn't happen. It either happens and the Lord shows an example of that it's not reasonable to have that in on this earth, a world where all nations are together and fused together. That causes confusion. The Lord is not the father of confusion. He is a power of order and simplicity. So when you try to amalgamate every nation together as one, that creates confusion. So when you read the book of Genesis 11, from the first verse all the way up to the last verse, you can read the whole thing. It actually shows you what the Lord did to the king of Herod's agenda. He pretty much flipped it upside down on his head. And what was the agenda of Herod the king? Not Herod the king, Nimrod, Nimrod. What was his agenda? His agenda was to get every nation to come together under one banner, and they can call a name for themselves. All right? And it didn't happen. So that was the first one world order that Nimrod the king was setting up. And guess what? The Lord did not take it lightly. The Lord wasn't with that. So what happened was the Lord had it so that system was corrupted. The Lord paved the way for that system to not happen. All right. So how much more in the end? As the saying goes, history has a way to repeat itself, right? The past is parallel to the future. So if the Lord wasn't with that concept back then, he ain't going to be with it right now at the end. He wasn't with it from the beginning, and he's not going to be with it to the very end. And this is why I like to say, and many others among, this brotherhood of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushai, we say it's not going to work. Okay. And I mean, when you really look at people, especially dealing with family members, there's even a difference within a family member that you may know. It could be, an uncle. It could be your father. It could be even including your brother or your sister that you are in close relation to. There's a difference between you two. All right. A lot of siblings don't even see eye to eye. So how much more the differences of another stranger outside of you? And then you got to deal with strangers outside of your nation. There's a great difference. So you have family members that can't even get together because they don't see eye to eye. So how much more, as I'm going to say again, another nation? How can they force a concept, a narrative for that concept to formulate a world where everybody can get together? It's impossible. All right. People speak different languages. People have different views and perceptions of how they see the world. So it's impossible. And the Lord made it so because that wasn't the plan of the Lord. Anyway, I'm not going to talk. I want to just get into the scriptures now. So what I want to do is I want to read Habakkuk chapter 2. Verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, in other words, philosophy, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. If you actually do the research, you find out that you have American bases, military bases all around the world, hundreds of them are all around the world. All right, and as well as these Edomites, they like to travel to different parts of the world and to see how people are living and how they can really gain some kind of control in that country, which is what they've already done. If you look at Africa today, the people that really run Africa are all of these different European countries. This is why they can go in Africa and drill the land to get oil. Like recently a brother just put out how Shell has been going down there, and I've also speaking of Shell, there's also another gas company also that's doing the same thing. It's called Total. Some of you brothers may be aware of a oil company called Total, and they've done the same thing that Shell's been doing. Setting up these drill stations and drilling oil, so much so that people have to be removed from where they are they're normally working at or live at, so that they can drill the oil and get an abundance of that oil so that they can sell it, right? And you already know that they're getting that oil dirt cheap. So it reads, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathered unto him all nations, and heaveth unto him all people. And that's the goal. The goal is to get all people together, because when you get all people together in close proximity, they're easier to control. So they want to resort back to a concept that never really worked. Nimrod's concept, where they want to gather every single nation together. And what happened when the Lord, the weight of the Heavenly Father dissolved that concept, or that setting? Let me use that term, that setting. As you can read in Genesis the 11th chapter, he sent the angels down to confuse the people of their languages, so that the people would understand one another. And I have to read this too. Speaking of Genesis the 11th chapter, I have to go and bring this out. So there you have it. This is so here we go. This is Deuteronomy 32 verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is a lot of his inheritance. And this is the power of his creation here on this earth. This ain't just something to be read about and to look over. Like, this is the deal. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. In other words, he gave them lands. For the Lord's portion is his people, and Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. So again, the Lord is not with the setting of an amalgamation of nations gathering together. So this is why we say, as I'm going to say once again, this system that they're concocting is not going to work. Somehow, some way, the Lord is going to do something to upset their agenda. All right, something's going to happen. Something's going to give for this agenda to flop right on top of its head. Just like it did Nimrod. So anyway, let's go back and read the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, in other words, by his own philosophy, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desires hell, and he is as deaf and cannot be satisfied. And that's another point that I want to build on. He cannot be satisfied. And I mean, when you look at these devils ruled well. They had the people where they wanted them. So why would they need to fix something that had not need to be fixed? As the saying goes, you don't have to fix something that's broken. I'm roughly paraphrasing that. But this is what they're doing because they're unsatisfied with the power that they already have. they're unsatisfied with the amount of wealth they already have. So they want more and more and more and more. Okay? And by them wanting more than what they already have, which is more than enough, it's going to lead to them of losing their whole entire empire. Klaus Schwab mentions about the fourth industrial revolution. All of these are leaders that got together on Davis. You know, a lot of them didn't really have it together mentally with one another. They wouldn't really vibe or in sync with one another. So that shows you that this one world system that they're trying to evaporate and to physically demonstrate, it's not going to work out because they're not together with their agenda. They're not agreeing with one another. There's a division. Okay? So if there's a division amongst these politicians and these, you know, higher level people that you know, operate in their course of field of work, then if they can't see eye to eye, how can a one world system happen when they're not even at one with one another? If you understand what I'm saying. So it ain't gonna work out. But gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay? In other words, the word there is ibatyat, which means debt. And most of these countries around the world are in debt right now. And America's in the most debt, and as well as down here in the UK, heavy loaded with debt, which was done by purpose, obviously, because they want to restructure the world in a new way. Again, formulating this one world system, which is not going to work because the concept didn't work prior in the beginning of time. So if it didn't work in the beginning of time, as I'm going to say again, it ain't going to happen. It's not going to work in the ending of time. Habakkuk 2 verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and the wake that shall vex thee? And thou shalt be for booties unto them, because thou hast spoiled many nations, and all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land and of the city, and of all that dwell therein. So the word booties just means spoil.